Hey, it's JayMac again, and welcome into another edition of Joyful Parents. Today, I want to tell you how I stopped my father, actually my stepfather, from spanking me. And this was, I was a teenager, and he was continuing to spank myself and my sister, and he would spank us with a wooden spoon. And it was for what I would call today minor infractions. And he would say, when you were in trouble, he would say, okay, go in the room and get ready for a spanking. And so what that meant, go in the room, lay down on the bed, on your stomach. He would come in with the wooden spoon, and he would start wailing on you. And of course, I would start crying, and that was the end of it, right? And of course, he was doing it out of anger, and we feared it. You know, we never wanted to be in that place where we were getting a spanking with a wooden spoon. And my older sister, she decided to deal with this in one way, and I decided to do it in another way. And this will kind of reveal to you the different tactics or attitudes between me and my older sister. I took a more strategic route, and she took a more stubborn route. And we'll start with what she did. One day she did something wrong, and my stepfather said, go in your room and get ready for a spanking. And I think she was probably at this time 17 years old. She was pretty close to being an adult. And so we all thought that spanking somebody at this age was completely unreasonable. Now, I don't know how it is in your house, but I remember thinking, come on, spanking at that age, really? And I knew that my sister felt this way. And so when my stepfather said, go in the room and get ready for a spanking, my oldest sister looked at him and said, no. And of course, he started yelling, and he said, you will go in there and you will get ready for a spanking. And she said, no, I am too old for that. I am not going to do that. And so he said, if you don't, I'm going to make you do this. Now, I want to let you know, during this time, we lived in a very sketchy area. We lived in a very small apartment. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. My parents lived in one room. My 2 sisters lived in the other room. And this was off and on because we were going back and forth between my dad and my mom on a regular basis. So sometimes it was just one sister in the room, sometimes 2. And I didn't have a room. My room was the living room. I slept on the couch in the living room. So my stepfather decides that he's going to get up and he's going to force my oldest sister to get a spanking. Now, she's no small person. I mean, I guess she's a little petite, but she's strong. She's 17. And so a wrestling match ensues. And these two start fighting, physically wrestling. And this wrestling match and this yelling match travels throughout the apartment. Furniture breaking, trash flying, my sister throwing stuff at him trying to hold her down and give her a spanking. I will never forget my mom yelling, me just sitting there on the couch going, holy, you know what in the world is going on? And this went on, I don't know how long, to be honest with you, but it felt like it went on forever. And my recollection is that eventually my stepfather gave up and my sister ran out the front door. And the place was destroyed. And that was how she said to my stepfather that she is never going to be spanked again. And if recollection served, I think she moved out shortly after that. And you can certainly understand why she left at that point. So when it came to my turn, and this will tell you a lot about how I think and how I operate. For some reason, from a very early age, I've understood how people work. I've understood what motivates them. I've understood how to manipulate them. I was a very good manipulator as a kid. And so I kind of hatched a plan in my own mind. I said, there's no way I want to have a wrestling match with my stepfather. I felt like he would be much more aggressive with me because I was a boy. And I didn't think that that was a battle that I could win. And plus, I was much younger. I had nowhere else that I could go. And so I decided that the best thing to do would be to take the power out of the spanking. And so what I decided was the next time that he told me to get ready for a spanking, that I was going to do everything in my power not to show any emotion whatsoever. In other words, I was going to make it so the spanking meant nothing to me. And this was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be hard, but I was determined to do it. So here we go. I don't remember what I did wrong, but he says, go in and get rid of a spanking. And instead of, tears coming down my eyes, and sometimes before I'd say, I'm sorry. And he'd say, it doesn't matter, go in. I'd try and talk myself out of it. So this time he says, go in and get ready for a spanking. And with a smile on my face, I said, okay. Just like that. No emotion, no fear. I just said, okay. And I got up and I went in and I lay down on the bed. And I knew that for that spanking, I was going to have to pretend that it was not impacting me. So he gets in there with the spoon and he starts wailing on me. And I am holding back every tear and every single emotion. And I am just about to bust into tears because this is painful. Anybody who's been through this is painful. But he starts to slow down, and I knew this was going to make it worse, but I knew it had to be done. I turned and I looked up to my stepfather and I said, are you done yet? Because I've got things that I want to do. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. And of course, his response was to start wailing on me harder than he had ever wailed on me before, because he needed to see that it was having an impact. He needed to see tears. He needed to see that I was learning my lesson. And I sat there and I took it. And I took it and I took it. And I was in pain from that paddling, from that beating for a month. But when he was done and I showed no tears and no emotion, he took up that spoon and he walked out the door. And I didn't say a word to him. I never cried. And he never, ever told me to go back in my room and get ready for a spanking. And that was how I overcame the brutality of spankings of a wooden spoon. Now, please don't take this as a recommendation. I believe that if any child is being abused in this way, there are other ways to handle this. I would also suggest to you that this is never an appropriate response. That physical violence is never an appropriate response to somebody who is old enough that you can reason with. And I will share with you over the course of these YouTube videos, and I also share with you in my online course, Joyful Parents, how you can discipline your children, and you can do it without the anger, because the anger makes it worse, how you can do it without the frustration, and how you can put the onus on them and make them focus on their choices and their behavior. Because I'll tell you what, when I was being spanked with that wooden spoon, I wasn't thinking about what I had done wrong. I was thinking about my terrible stepdad and his temper and the things that he was doing. And that's what happens when you choose to resort to anger and other types of things. So I hope you'll take a minute and look at that online course. If you're not able to subscribe at jaymcfarland.com, that's okay. We're going to share so much of that information here on this channel. If you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time there's a new video. We'll be releasing one a week, and I'm absolutely looking forward to your comments. One of my goals here and one of my frustrations is that oftentimes we feel that we're alone when we parent because we don't have people that we can go to and directly ask about our particular circumstances. I think that's a huge mistake. I know that our children get together and they teach each other technology, and they teach each other how to get around their parents' rules and wishes. We need to be doing the same thing, parents. We need to be working together and sharing the ideas that work and the things that don't work. Otherwise, we're outnumbered by our children. That's what Joyful Parents is all about. So again, please like, subscribe, go to the website jaymcfarland.com, and I will catch you next time.